The worst decision a woman can make is to get pregnant by a loser. It's easy to leave a relationship or marriage when a child is not involved, but once you have a child with the wrong man, you now have a receipt for your stupidity for the rest of your life. That child ties you up to that loser forever. Every birthday, every holiday, every school event, every emergency, he's there. But for most of you, that man isn't even there. Now you're left explaining his absence to your children while carrying the emotional and financial alone. Children, sure, they're a blessing, but not every man deserves them. The reason why this world is overpopulated with losers is because women continue to procreate with anything and everything that moves. Let's not forget how harshly us women are judged by our appearance alone. People decide what we're worth just from our bodies and faces. How could you allow just any guy to get you pregnant when just from pregnancy alone you can gain an insane amount of weight? Sometimes the weight gain is permanent. Your stomach stretches out like crazy to the point that you can get very visible stretch marks. Many women are stuck with loose skin. The body shape changes. Sometimes the fat settles in places you don't want it to be. How about getting dark patches on your face, breakouts, hair loss, and even teeth loss? What about the C-section scars and the tearing? Why are women allowing just any man to let them go through this? To have such changes that could potentially be permanent. The person that gets you pregnant needs to be worth all of these potential side effects. I know many women that were cheated on during the time they were pregnant and even when they were giving birth. Not a shocker. I know you know of such women too, or have at least heard stories of women who went through it. A lot of men will say, she gained too much weight. She's always focused on the baby. She barely gives me attention anymore. She's just not as attractive as she used to be. And use that as an excuse to go sleep with other women. They don't understand that you're the one bleeding after pregnancy, leaking milk, healing, barely sleeping. Instead of trying to understand, a lot of them decide to be out there entertaining someone who didn't carry his child, didn't cry and scream through giving birth, didn't sacrifice her body. They don't understand the sacrifice it takes. They don't see that your body literally built life, carried it for 9 months, then pushed it out or got cut open for it. They don't see the reason you're unable to pay attention to him is because you're the one taking care of that child all on your own. A lot of men want the child. They want the title of dad without the responsibility that comes with it. They want to spread their seed, continue their future generations, but they don't want to be a father. They don't want to work and support their children. They don't want to take their kid to their basketball practice. A lot of men want to sleep with you, get you pregnant, say congrats, and disappear with the next woman.
I want to be a dad and I don't want to be a mom because I don't want to carry a human being in my body for 9 months and go through the birthing process. I just want another human being in this world with my DNA that is equally related to me as the person that gave birth. I don't want to watch what I eat for 9 months and be potentially depressed after I give birth. I just want to show up to the hospital drunk and have a baby that's mine. I also don't want the society to assume that it's my responsibility to take the kids to recitals and practices. I just want to drop my kids to school once a year and get praises from all the moms and teachers to be like, oh my god, what a great dad you are.
If men had to be responsible for children the way women are, they wouldn't want kids. Their standards for who gets pregnant would be way higher. Because of the fact that men can easily run away, skip child support, disappear, they know society will blame the women for not knowing better. They know how hard it is to raise a child and that we will be stuck taking care of that kid if they leave. That's why they get anyone and everyone pregnant. Once you have a child, there is no going back. Many mothers will not admit it, but there are so many mothers out there that regret having a child, with the wrong man. They'll say it's a blessing, but if you were to see their life behind closed doors, you'd realize how hard life is when a woman gets pregnant by the wrong man. It is also important for you to remember, the man you marry won't be the same man you divorce, just like the man you dated won't be the same man you raise the kids with. Society rushes us to get pregnant by our 20s. They scare us into believing that we won't be able to conceive a healthy child after our late 30s. But plenty of women I know have had kids in their 40s and not one had difficulties. They all gave birth to a healthy child. Before you get pregnant, you have to feel that you're ready for it, that you actually want it and have strong belief that you're going to get pregnant with the right partner. Don't do it because your family rushes you or society pressures you, because chances are high you will regret it. There's a lot of women having babies later because they are choosing the right time over society's timeline. They prefer to be financially stable before bringing in children. They prefer to be a healthy parent. It's better to bring in a child later, be the parent they need, instead of of earlier on because you were rushed. Because otherwise, most likely the kids are going to be left dealing with an absent father, financial issues, and an emotional mother. And at this point, I'm not congratulating anyone who's having kids while financially struggling. What exactly am I congratulating? Bringing a child into the world just for them to grow up in poverty? And don't even get me started on the ones having 5 kids when they couldn't even take care of the first. Now the oldest is being forced to babysit, cook, clean, basically raised to be a second parent. You should have learned your lesson after the first child. Kids aren't backup parents. They didn't ask to be here, and they shouldn't be carrying the weight of your poor decisions. I've seen parents who can't even afford to give their child a room of their own, and yet they go and have 5 more, cramming all of them into one space like it's normal. Living in poverty is not normal. Having a child after child, knowing you can provide a clean home, food on the table, education, or even basic privacy, I'm sorry, you didn't bless those kids. You cursed them with your poor choices. A lot of mothers are out there gambling with their kids' lives, then trying to convince them that they should be grateful for her stupid decisions. Many mothers, instead of letting their children pursue their passions, they instead make them work and pay their own school bills, and also magically they just expect them to become some kind of successful doctor or lawyer. Some of you are still healing, still chasing your dreams, or still finding the right partner, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have time. I know what it's like to be pressured to have kids young, because it's normal in my culture to marry young, have kids young, even if you're not ready. No one cares. The parents and grandparents want grandchildren, so they remind you every time they see you about those grandchildren that they really, really want. But you need to remember, for many of you, these same people who rush you to have kids gave you nothing. Not a home, not a car, not education, and haven't even saved any money to help you out with those kids. Don't allow them to pressure you. Don't allow them to make you live the same life they lived. Otherwise, you will resent them and yourself as well. My grandma keeps begging me to have kids, but she barely has a relationship with her son's kids. My mom keeps asking me when I'm gonna have a kid, but she doesn't even live in the same country as me. She wouldn't even be able to babysit for an hour. Even if she was able to, I know she wouldn't, because that's her personality. She doesn't like kids, doesn't have patience for them. She's the type who preferred to be alone, preferred her phone and her friends. And I don't blame her. She was in her 20s wanting to live her life when she had me. She was not happy as a mother. So why pressure me to be that kind of mother? They want you to have kids, but they don't want to help you take care of them or to pay for them. I was the oldest child, and because my mom didn't want to be a mom, I was the one who had to take care of my siblings. I was the one who had to cook, clean, fold their clothes. I was the one who had to take them with me every day, every time I wanted to go out with my friends, because my mom didn't feel like taking us out to the park or any of her children anywhere, honestly. And now it feels like my freedom annoys my family and friends. It really bothers them to see that I won't be pushed into doing something I don't want to do, like they were. It annoys them that I'm living the life they wish they had chosen for themselves. My husband and I, we travel a lot, we go out a lot, and of course, like when I sit with my friends, I tell them about it, like how it went, what I did, and I always have this one friend that says to me, she says this multiple times, it's not just a one-time thing, she says, I can't wait for you to have kids so you can finally see how hard life is. Like, why would you wish that on me? This same friend is always complaining about how hard it is to have a son, and I'm still there trying to support her through it, you know, something that I don't fully get because I don't have the experience. But it's just funny because she always tells me the negatives of motherhood and still keeps asking me every time we talk, when will you have a kid? When will you be pregnant? When? Oh, just wait until you have kids. You're gonna realize how hard life is. Like, girl, after seeing your life, I'm good over here. I'm taking my time. These women always talk about how much of a blessing kids are, but these same women get no sleep, have less money, and sometimes are downright broke, like with bags under their eyes. A child is only a blessing when you want one, when you plan for one, when you have your life together and something useful to give to that child. That's when it's rewarding. Too many parents are miserable and unhappy, but they'll put on, a smile and pressure you to have kids too, so you would live the way they do.
To my younger ladies out there, and I'm saying this as somebody who also started having children in my 20s, stop listening to these ladies talking about they glad they got their kids out the way so that they could basically relive their 20s over when they're in their late 30s and in their 40s. Because most of these women didn't care about giving their kids a good life. They talking about, oh, have your kids in your 20s so you could travel when you're in your 30s and 40s. Don't you think you should have been traveling with your kids? Don't you think you should have been focused on the life and experience that you was giving your kids? And I'm not saying this is all women, but I do notice a lot of women who say this don't care about the fact that their kid was getting dragged while they was learning how to be an adult and learning about themselves and becoming a mature person. And they often ignore how their kid felt through that process. Everybody can choose their own path, but I will say if you're in your late teens, early 20s, use that time to have fun, make your mistakes, learn about life, learn about yourself, and, have fun while you don't have a mouth to feed and somebody relying on you. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but being a parent when you're a little bit more established, financially stable, and mature is a lot more fun than when you're trying to figure out how to get by. And I'm not saying life doesn't have ups and downs, because throughout your life, you're always going to have ups and downs, mentally, financially, physically. But at least give yourself time to build up a foundation before you have them kids. Because a lot of them mamas who brag about that they got their kids out the way spent half of their life counting down till they could leave their kids home alone and relive that life that they really missed out on without them kids.
Personally, the unhappiest and most bitter people I've ever met are the ones who constantly push others to have kids, forcing their opinions no matter how many times they've been told it's too early or that a child is not a priority right now. They go off about how you don't want to be alone when you pass away, so you must have children now, or how you don't want to be old with low energy, so you must have children now. All those same people, from what I've seen, resent the women who took their time. They resent the women who had a baby once they were financially stable, mentally stable, and able to provide a good lifestyle for the child. Those same bitter women look at the women who took their time and they say about them, okay, they say, oh, that's unrealistic, or oh, that's unfair, instead of telling you to learn from their mistakes, to check your fertility and take your time if you can. They'd rather see you suffer the same way they did. They want you to go through the same hardships they went through. And if you dare take your time and wait until you're financially stable, mentally stable, and have a good partner, they will then look at you once you're pregnant and have a child and say, well, that's unrealistic or that's unfair. Remember, everyone's body is different. Some women can have kids at 29 while others can get pregnant naturally at 42. You won't know until you check your body. Talk to your fertility doctor and ask for tests that show how many eggs you have left, how hard your body is working to make eggs, and how many eggs are growing. Another option is to freeze your eggs in your 20s or 30s if you want to have kids later. A lot of men use pregnancy to keep women trapped, forcing them to focus slowly on the child instead of living their best life. They hate seeing moms with social life. They hate seeing women take their time and have healthy kids after 30 and refuse to be pressured. You'll never truly know what your body will go through during pregnancy unless you've been pregnant. There are women who have passed away during and after pregnancy, women who bleed heavily during and after, women who develop high blood pressure that can cause seizures and organ failure. Some get infections after giving birth, some so serious they become life-threatening. Others face mental health challenges. There are body changes that don't always go away, like a torn belly muscles, bladder leaks, loose skin, stretch marks, pain during intercourse, and weakened bones. Meanwhile, men's bodies stay the exact same. Men don't sacrifice nearly as much to become dads as we do to become moms. A man's life, for the most part, remains unchanged. They get to keep their bodies, their routine, jobs, and their freedom. They don't carry the physical scars, the hormonal shifts, or the pressure society puts on women to bounce back after birth. Men get to show up when it's convenient, enjoy the title of being a dad, and often avoid the day-to-day sacrifices moms make. The number of horrible things that can go wrong is endless, because giving birth is one of the most dangerous and painful things you'll ever go through. That's why the man you get pregnant by needs to be worth it. You have to make sure he'll support you no matter how bad things get. If a man is trying to get you pregnant fast, I'm talking within months of knowing each other, run. Chances are he's trying to baby trap you, and more often than not, you're about to find out some shady things about him. If he's tracking your period, asking detailed questions about, your birth control, or pushing for unprotected you-know-what, early on, there's a high chance he's not thinking about building a family. He's thinking about controlling you. A man's timeline for when he tries to get you pregnant says a lot about how much much he actually cares about you. If he's trying to get you pregnant while he's broke and has nothing to offer, then he's okay with watching you struggle. If you're in your prime, doors opening, man lining up, opportunities coming your way, and he's trying to get you pregnant, then I'm sorry, but most likely he's your secret hater. A lot of these men want you stuck at home, tied to a child. And don't forget, it takes two to get pregnant. If he embarrasses you, leaves you, or disrespects you during pregnancy, it also reflects on you because you allowed someone like him to get you pregnant. In my opinion, only have as many kids as you can handle, because at the end of the day, if a divorce happens, most of you will be too emotional to give those kids to the father. Most of you are having kids with broke men, so you don't even have a choice. You'll end up being the main parent regardless. And overall, make sure that if you were to end up alone, you can afford those kids, just in case he runs away. Child support is barely enough compared to what you'll actually spend on those kids. And honestly, I mean, this is kind of petty, but I have to say it, it annoys me that nobody talks about or reminds women of the fact that your child will have both the father's looks and personality. If that man isn't even in your life, you'll still be reminded of him like every single day through your child. And not just that, while that child is inside of you, you also absorb some of that man's DNA. One of my cousin's friends is a single mother. Her son looks and lies exactly like his deadbeat father. This poor girl not only has to be reminded of him every day, but because she carried that child, she now has some of that loser's DNA in her too. Let's not forget that a lot of men don't realize they have a biological clock too. Male fertility and sperm quality decline with age, especially after their mid-30s. As men get older, their sperm becomes weaker, there's less of it. Their DNA can also get damaged. This makes it harder to have a baby. Even if conception happens, the baby has a higher chance of health problems. For example, men over 40 have up to 43% higher risk of causing pregnancy loss, a miscarriage, compared to men in their 20s. I've also heard many men blame women for miscarriages or babies being born with health issues. And it's not just on women. A dad's lifestyle, like eating well, not smoking, and staying active, makes a big difference. But many of them don't care. They'll still blame the woman for it. Kids born to men over 40 have about a 5 to 6 times higher risk of autism. As dads get older, their children are more likely to have brain and behavioral conditions like, I can't say this properly, so I apologize, schizophrenia, I think that's how you say it, bipolar disorder, and ADHD. There's also a higher chance of other health issues, including certain cancers, rare genetic disorders, and birth defects, like heart problems or Down syndrome. It's funny to me that society always focuses on older women who are single and child-free, shaming them, calling them cat ladies, as if they're the problem. Meanwhile, older single men with no kids are out at clubs, chasing younger women, making podcasts about red pill tactics and how to manipulate or sleep with younger women. These same men often come off as pervy, weird, and creepy, yet somehow they're overlooked. They are the ones harming our society. But the crazy childish cat lady that's at home, minding her business is what society chooses to focus on. The one society sees as problematic somehow. Since we're already on the baby topic, after everything I've shared, there is no way I'll be having a baby with just anyone, and definitely not for free. You need to have pregnancy non-negotiables. First, in my opinion, no marriage, no baby. Don't let anyone convince you that having a baby without being married is better. Yes, a married mother can still get divorced or left, but being a wife comes with legal and financial protections that a baby mama does not get. Baby mamas don't get the house, don't get half his money, and don't get the car. They often get nothing after sacrificing their bodies. Just make sure, if you do marry, that he's financially responsible and has something useful that can offer you and your children. Some women say marriage is too big of a commitment, but a baby isn't. Second, I must get a push present. If he doesn't give me a push present, I'm not pushing out that baby. Third, I will not be working right after giving birth. No way am I going to give birth, then run back to work. My body needs time to heal, so no work unless, I decide otherwise. And even during pregnancy, I'm not working. Fourth, a housekeeper and a chef are a must. Even though I'm OCD about cleaning and love cooking for myself, after giving birth, my whole focus should be on the child. If he can't afford to give me that, he can't afford a child. Lastly, he needs to give me a spa membership. Weekly massages and facials, they're just a must for everything I went through. And the last thing I really want to strongly suggest, when you do get pregnant, keep it private. I get that it's exciting, especially when it's your first baby, but I've seen so many couples post their pregnancy announcements on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, only to have, unfortunately, a miscarriage. much. And, you know, people start commenting and calling and asking, where's the baby or how's the baby? And I've had family members, friends who have went through something like this, and the last thing they want to do is to talk about something like that with people they're not that close with. And don't forget that even when you do open up about what happened, that info will always end up getting passed on. People don't know how to keep their mouth shut. They have to tell everyone everything. So even people that you wouldn't want them to know what you went through will end up knowing. If I ever have a kid, I don't think I would post pictures, but if I do, I definitely cover their face with like an emoji or something. People are honestly weird. I've heard so many stories of people talking negatively about someone's baby. You'd be surprised how many people will give your child the evil eye just because they have unresolved issues with you, or because you had the gender that they wanted, or because they can't have kids or had kids when they didn't want them. Some even get jealous if they see you giving your child a lifestyle they can't provide for their own. Honestly, some people are just creepy and weird, and you need to do everything you can to just stay protected from them. Anyways, to end this video, don't end up getting pregnant by anyone. Honestly, I don't care how much money he has, I don't care how charming he is. Be nosy, make sure that you're checking that he's right for you, that he's safe for you, that he will actually be there for you during the hard times, that he would be a good husband, that he would be a good father. Pregnancy, it's a game that never ends. You can play many different games and they have an ending, but this one doesn't have an ending. You want to make sure that you do this one thing right.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't want to have a child either. Why would I want to have a child? I don't need to have a child. I don't need to have a man. I don't need to pretend that I'm in love. I don't need to pretend that I want to be a mother. I don't need to stay at home and play giggle with a little child who's just another slave in the system. I don't have to do any of this shit. Why should I do that? Why should I waste my resources doing this when there's other games that are much more fun that are available for me to play? Why? And don't tell me I will find fulfillment, because my mother didn't find fulfillment. My grandmother didn't find fulfillment. And that's why I'm the byproduct of their lack of fulfillment. So I'm talking as a woman, right? I'm the byproduct of my mom, my grandmother, and all these lineages of women that came before me. And I'm the byproduct of their discontent. And then you tell me I should do the same thing as they did. Well, quite clear it didn't work out. So why should I do this? What's the point? How's that going to fulfill me?
Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you all.